Are Soldano amps really that good? I didn't think this would ever happen, but it has happened. I finally have a real Soldano amplifier in my studio, the SLO30 to be precise. And needless to say, I'm very excited. In this video, I'm going to try this amplifier with one of my favorite guitars, my Gibson Les Paul Custom, in 4 different styles. And I'm also going to talk about my initial impressions of owning this amplifier for the first week or 2. And let's start right away with a modern rock clip with Les Paul through the Overdrive channel tuned to drop C sharp. Check it out. Alright, I don't know about you guys, but I thought that sounded awesome. Now for many years you guys have been bugging me about Soldano amplifiers.
Why no Soldano? When are you going to feature a Soldano on the channel?
And I understand, guys, these amps definitely are legendary. Especially the SLO, of course, when it comes to the roots of high-gain amps. Many popular high-gain amplifiers have apparently been based on Mike Soldano's initial designs, and for good reason. Now, a couple of years ago, Mike Soldano basically retired the brand, and Bad Amps, or boutique amp distribution, took over. So they are now releasing and building the Soldano amplifiers. But Mike still works for them basically as a consultant. And a few years ago, they upgraded the SLO 100 and then also released the SLO 30 after. And the preamps are basically identical, but the power section is obviously different, as this is a smaller amplifier with a lower wattage rating of 30 watts with 2 6L6 tubes in the power section. So this definitely is a compact little amplifier, but it does not sound like a small amplifier at all. In fact, it sounds absolutely massive. Now the SLO30 has a depth control over here, which really helps with dialing in the amount of low end or thump that you need for your tone. And I love that. I love depth and resonance controls a lot. And back in the day, the old Soldanos didn't have this control as a default. It was basically an optional mod. But I'm glad to see that all the SLOs these days have this feature as a standard. And I probably tend to overuse this control a little bit because I do love my low end. The FX loops have been given an overhaul as well. They now work better with pedals. And you'll get to hear that in a minute. And the amplifiers now also have a channel switching switch on the front here. Now with the older SLOs you had to use a foot switch for that, so that's convenient. In terms of the layout, the amp is quite simple with 2 channels. We have a normal channel and an overdrive channel. The normal channel does the clean and crunch tones, and you can switch between the clean and crunch modes with this switch over here. And there's also a bright switch over here, which I prefer to have on all the time. But if you're using single coil pickups a lot, for example, you might want to have this off, or for using this amp as a pedal platform. Each channel has its own gain control, and then we have a 3-band EQ, a shared EQ, and then volume controls for each channel, and then the presence and depth controls. Now for me personally, the high gain overdrive tones of this amplifier is where the magic is at. Truly sounds incredible. The distortion character is just so rich and saturated, and it just sounds Yummy. A little on the loose side, but I like to call that organic, but it's tight enough for most applications. Now, as you already heard a little bit, it sounds glorious with my Gibson Les Paul Custom, but in future videos I also want to try this amplifier with a wide variety of guitars, tunings, pickups, and styles. So stay tuned for that as well. We're going to do some more heavy overdriven tones in a minute, but first I also want to explore some different tones with this amplifier, starting with a clean tone. Of course, through the normal channel on the clean mode with the bright switch turned on, and I'm going to use the neck pickup on the Les Paul Custom. I also want to put a chorus pedal in front of the amplifier for a certain section of the song, which will be the Walrus Audio Fundamentals chorus. And then for the duration of the entire clip, I'm also putting 2 pedals in the effects loop. Again, Walrus Audio Fundamentals, and it's the delay and the reverb pedal this time. By the way, for all the tones in this video, the amp is being fed into my RedSeven Amplification Amp Central reactive load, and then into OwnHammer impulse responses from the Rockbox and Essentials series. And I used ML Drums by ML Sound Lab for all the drums. Okay, check it out. Very cool. That's a nice clean tone for sure. No complaints here. And as you can hear, the amplifier also works really well with pedals, and the effects loop works well as well. Now what I want to do is try the crunch mode on the normal channel for a nice classic British crunch, again with the bright switch on. And I'm going to use the bridge pickup of the Les Paul, and just as in the previous clip, it will be tuned to E flat standard again. Let's take a listen. Great, that's a very nice crunch tone indeed with plenty of bite. I really love that a lot. I mean, there's a lot of clarity, but it still has that rich saturation going on. Really cool. Now I want to go back to the Overdrive channel, of course, for some faster and more chunky metal riffs. Again, tuning the Les Paul to C sharp, so drop C sharp. And I'm going to use the bridge pickup once again. So let's see how well this amplifier can do modern metal without a boost pedal up front. Check it out. Oh yeah, that sounded so cool. This amp has a ton of character. It sounds full and chunky and tight enough for this genre with this guitar anyway. I dig it. So, are Soldano amps, or the SLO in particular, worth the hype? Yeah, I absolutely think so. I think this amp sounds really good and I don't regret buying it at all. And despite this being an older amp design, I mean it's like 40 years old or something, it still holds up really well with modern music, as well as classic tones as you heard. And it definitely has a certain character and mojo to it that I've not experienced with any other amplifier. So that's really cool. So it really adds something to my collection. Now I'm planning on doing many videos with this amplifier, various guitar demos and stuff, but I also want to compare this to a bunch of amplifiers as well as virtual amp models. So stay tuned for more content with this Soldano SLO 30 in the future. And of course, hit the like and subscribe buttons down below to be notified of new content with this amplifier, and let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are on the amp and the tones in this video. That's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. You can also follow Sonic Drive Studio on Facebook and Instagram, by the way. Thank you guys so much, and I hope to see you soon. Cheers.